do something that is very annoying. So first of all, close your eyes. You know, imagine that you love football. Imagine that you support your national team. And the game is on. You know, and your striker is getting close to the goal. And now you can open your eyes. And I want you, when I lift my hand up, I want you to be ecstatic. You know what that means? Like a bit crazy, a bit annoying for the rest of the people around you. And let's see how many times we need to do this before I'm satisfied myself. I'm doing this for me, not for you guys. Okay? So Germany, Netherlands, Norway scores a goal, and you'll be in your chair with your best friend sitting, you'll be like, yeah! And somebody even recognized doing this and got lots of great feelings. But Norway it's not just guys who does well. Our sprint ladies just won gold in the European Championship. It's wonderful. And we even beat Canada in hockey. Who would think that Norway could ever beat Canada in hockey? It's not possible. So we are so great, this nation of, up there in the North Pole is so great that we even have the world's biggest Subaru welcome. And 1 week ago when I had this presentation has never been done before with the slides that I have. But I usually use this picture because in one way I hate it. And it was 400 billion kroners less 1 week ago. So somebody did great with SpaceX, right? And Norway does great everywhere, don't we? Our municipalities are doing very well. We only spend 1 or 4 kroners from, let's say if you're a tech startup. Every year you have something between 20 and 25% to visit. It's less than your income. You're really happy about it, aren't you? But the problem is, even with 25% to visit, we only spend something like 500 billion kroners from our wealth fund. And last week, it increased by 400 billion. How do you tell people that that's a problem? It's very hard. We have over 400, we call it kommuner. And in 2024, 60% had a deficit. They couldn't pay their bills. And we're standing in one of the most amazing changes that we've ever seen. And we can't pay our bills, but we do great in sports, luckily, right? Circus and bread, isn't that what they say? So if you go to the let's say the more historical projects, the blue lines, even though we've done this for tens of years, only 4 out of 10 or 3 out of 10 succeed in changes. If you go to the new projects, the projects that are driven by AI, last year, 19 of 20 senior leaders said they stopped their AI projects because they didn't work. They don't think they could get the return on investment from it. 95%. That's not what you read about in the newspaper, is it? So if you go to an AI project in a normal company, 8 out of 10 C-suites would say, it doesn't work. Let's move on. Have anybody heard about a Gutenberg moment? Please raise your hands. Gives you great feelings. Half have heard about a Gutenberg moment. I actually think it's Sylvia Ceres who came up with this the first time I heard it. But a Gutenberg moment is something that is so profoundly changing the way we look at the world and how human beings interact with the world that the world will never be the same. So that's a Gutenberg moment. And I know there's at least one in the audience who knows a bit more about it, because we're in a secret club of Gutenbergers who loves to talk about this and think about what did it do to humanity. So before Gutenberg, the monks would write the book. It would cost millions and millions. It would take years to write the book. After this innovation, you could print a book. It created a renaissance, right? And the time of equilibrium. And for many years now, we've said that we are living in 12 Gutenberg moments, and they are not separate, so they're interlinked, and they create massive change, right? So 12 of these independent Gutenberg moments interlinking and fueling each other. And only the last 4 years, we have seen 3 new Gutenberg moments, which in itself could change humanity. So one of my friends would say, why do you create software, Chris, when generative AI will do it for you for free? And it's going to be free to use computing. And Chris, energy will be free forever. So what does that mean to business? It means that we need to fundamentally change the way we think and work. And we have a huge, let's say, completion gap. We're great at starting things. We call it the POI sickness in Norway. So we're great at inventing. We're terrible at scaling, which is sad. So how do you close the gap? How do you use technology to lift up people and leaders, even though you use more technology? Is it possible? I really, really believe it. But first, how do we do it? So if you go to your colleagues at work, 3 or 4 people will say they have something that they call change fatigueness. I'm so terribly tired of these new softwares and new initiatives, and everything is new. Why can't I just keep my old stuff? I love my old stuff. I'm quite good at it. So 3 or 4 hates change. And we are standing in the most massive change humanity has ever seen. To be honest, the pace of change today will never be slower than today. It will accelerate dramatically. So I came from a family that I had to be some sort of sportsman. You know, it was not acceptable not to do it, so I went into swimming. And in swimming, you train, and you train, and you train, and your friends and your mates are out cycling, having fun, but you're in a swimming pool, and that's what you do. And you get into corporate business, and you get one course a year. Oh yeah. You should perform, let's say you work 222 days every year. So you're supposed to perform at your peak for 221 days, and then you send to course one day. And your managers, they will look at that spreadsheet and say, look at all the money spent for that course. And they will think it's great, but it's rubbish. And the world will not be able to survive this change if we don't dramatically change. So what I hope to do, and I know it's far-fetched, is to give every employee their own coach. I want to give every employee their personal trainer. Is it possible? Yes. For the first time in humanity, it's possible. So I worked in great consultancy firms, and we rolled up a plan, and everybody would say, Chris, you're mental, we can't afford this. But everybody needs PT, everybody needs a coach, but we can't afford it. But we can afford it at the C level, not below. So maybe top 3-4% would get a great education, lots of support, middle management squeezed, and nothing changes. So is it possible to both work with a muscle that, you know, you probably heard about this ambidextrous change management, ambidextrous strategy, where you're supposed to exploit and explore. 2 muscles at the same time. But if you do this explorer and you use the muscle to mature, where are you today, Chris? You know, What is your goals? Can I help you to succeed with your goals? Not being pushed by your manager, but having your coach. On the other side, you need to exploit where you are. I'm good at this, so exploit it. Then you have a PT that helps you run at that machine to keep up the pace. And I think it's possible. But when you start with a project, you always get quite annoyed by how many billions of pieces which needs to be put into the puzzle before that company can survive and be a great place to help others survive. So these are the tools that we had to put in place. And the most difficult thing is to create courses. So how do you create a course of change management, innovation management, and strategic management, and make it very, very simple to read and understand? And on the other side, what do you do with that knowledge? So what I hope to do, and this is created today, and I got help from a friend. He's not alive, but he's great at drawing things. So he said, we have a maturity loop where you look at the long side, you coach. He helps you to stretch. And then you have a performance loop that helps you to exercise today, what I'm good at, what I need to cope with this week, this month, which is the performance loop. These two can interact together, and if we use AI to do it, it's possible. And with the legal obligations of leaders today, where we heard one of the former speakers talk about it, you have massive obligations. And before these things are rolled out, management do not have time. So we need to find a new way of solving our problems, or else we won't be able to do it. So you create courses. I'm massively dyslexic. I can't even spell dyslexic. So you have somebody must listen, somebody must read, and others would want to see it in a movie. So you have to push all of these buttons in order to reach everybody. And if you're very good at spelling, you find lots of great spelling mistakes. That's the perk of this presentation, which was translated for you today. So one of my good friends, he has written innovation stories for almost 12 years. The great thing about it is that these are hand-drawn stories from Norway. And we didn't realize that what we were doing is creating maybe one of the world's greatest innovation story, let's call it IPs, right? Where people, hundreds of leaders, have spent thousands of hours to say, how did we manage? Why did we fuck up? And by using these stories, we can help other leaders succeed, because you don't have to fall into all of the pitfalls that everybody else did before you. But knowledge that is not used is not very valuable. So how do you take that knowledge and put it into practice? We call it sprints. It's like a meeting, workshop, call it whatever you want, sprints. And we break programs into small bits and pieces. So some of these programs have, let's say, 40 sprints. You don't need them all. And before, just a couple of months ago, you had to know them to use them. Now you can have tools that supports you in spending these, let's call processes in the right way. And you will probably hate me for it, but that's okay. I can live with it. I've been what do you call it? The guy who ran with the numbers for many years. A company also needs to be able to showcase what we did, when we did it, what did we give to our employees, did they respond well to it, did we adjust? This is part of the law today, but how do you do this when you don't have time? Then you need a system that could help you, right? And I don't think that IT fixes anything. But I think the right IT can give you time to fix almost anything. And I expect you to not to think that that's a great statement. Who of you have ever worked with innovation management? You should all put up your hands. Change is innovation. Mini change is innovation. We call it incremental innovation. Everybody works with innovation every day. If you had children, you are superstars in innovation, right? Because you have to adjust all the time. Lots of people think that if I create an innovation culture, things will be awesome. We will love each other, everything will be great. That is complete nonsense. The innovation cultures that I've been part of is the toughest cultures I've ever been a part of. Because when you do a mistake, people will ask you to come on stage and tell everybody, how did you fuck up, Chris? We need to learn from that. It's not. I'm Norwegian. I don't want to be on stage telling anybody I didn't fulfill my promise. No, it's not nice. We heard somebody talk about stress. It's stressful. We think that innovation cultures are great places, and yes, they can create great value for your company. But if you don't give people the tools to handle an innovation culture, people will burn out quite quickly. And it's the same with change management, and it's the same with strategy. And these pictures are quite detailed, yes. We have all the tools, we have all the knowledge, but we don't have time to use it. And we haven't been able to create the support that make leaders want to use them. And that is the mission we're on. So imagine that you could have change as a software, change as a service. Imagine that you can have innovation as a service. It was impossible only a couple of months ago. Now I think it is possible. And that's the journey we are on. Because what I've done for many years is to create a strategy. Great strategies. And then you go out, you present it, and you expect people to start running. But people don't know what to do. They don't have the tools, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the time and the skills to do it. So if you don't train for skills, you won't succeed. And that's why you need to have tools that supports you doing it, because we don't have time. And people think that AI will take away all the jobs. There's plenty of things that we are not capable of doing that we need to do in order to get people to enjoy their working day and want to be part of your culture. So there's plenty of time to go around. But if you have a strategy without execution, it's rubbish, right? So strategy means change. Change is innovation, and innovation is change management, right? So if you don't practice, you won't succeed. And that's the story, guys. Bottom line is, if you think this is rough, it has never, ever been more quiet than now. Because tomorrow will be more messy. So just strap on, people. And that's it. Thank you very much.